So, Engelbert, it's a truly great honor for me to have you here as a guest. There are so many topics that I would like to discuss with you, but we have a limited time, so let's get straight to it. Uh, you're a living legend. You lived through the history of popular music, and you personally knew some of the greatest legends of music. So, I'd like to start there. In your opinion, who was or is the greatest, most lovable person in the business that you know or that you knew?
Well, I think I have to say there's a two or three people. Number one, I would say was excuse me, Dean Martin.
Hmm.
Dean Martin was one of the most lovable characters in show business I have ever met in my life, and I was able to socialize with him quite a lot because we shared the same manager, and for a while, and the other person, of course, I'd say is Elvis. Elvis was one of the most influential in my career because I think I learned a lot from the master. I think he was such a great performer, and he never took his image seriously. And I
Hmm.
think that's what people should to think about when they walk on stage. Not to think I am the greatest. They make fun of themselves, and Elvis did that, and I took notice of what he said, and I never ever took my image seriously.
Yeah.
Because they call me the king of romance and all that business. But he was the king of rock and roll for sure.
Yes, I would like to speak about Elvis further, but can you tell me who was the opposite? Was there some not so nice guy, maybe?
There's a lot of people not nice in the business, but you know, I those kind of people I don't socialize with.
Mhm.
Uh, uh, and it's no slap in the face for me.
So I would like to know how was the music, how the music business worked back then? Like, what was the overall atmosphere of that time?
As challenging as it is today, believe me, because when I first started and I was looking for a song which would establish me as an artist, it was very very difficult to find. Then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, I heard this melody that was so uh, haunting that I said to the guy who was going to manage me, Gordon Mills. I said, I want to record that song, and I only heard the melody. Said, let's find the lyric. We found the lyric, and I recorded it, and I found out later on that that particular song had been a hit about 5 or 6 times, and the name of the song was "Release Me." You see, but
Yeah.
my version went to number one around the world, and it was in the Guinness Book of Records by stopping the Beatles from having their 13th number one. Stop the Beatles, the almighty Beatles. This unknown from Leicester, England, came along and stopped the almighty Beatles from having a number one. And I'm a big fan of the Beatles. I was upset that I would have, stopped their roll of success, but
Mhm.
c'est la
Yeah,
vie.
it happens. And what's the difference between how a musician becomes famous today and how it was back in your era?
Back in my era, I think it was a little harder than it is today, because today we have the modern convenience of social media, etc. That can promote you in a big way. But back then, you had to hire people to promote you, and you had to do your own promotion. You go around to radio stations and plug your records. But today, it you don't sell as many records, but you do get better promotion, because it's
Mhm.
it's more convenient with the technology.
So, from a young age, you were in spotlight. How did you manage to balance the private and the public life? It must be difficult.
It was difficult. You have to put up with not doing certain things like, for instance, if you go to play at a venue in Las Vegas, you know um, uh, my band would be going down and enjoying themselves at the swimming pool, but I couldn't go because I was the star of the show, And I think that, and when I first walk on stage, that's when my audience should see me.
No, you were and still you are the world superstar. So I was wondering, have you got any crazy stories about overly attached fans and stalkers, maybe?
Oh boy, yes, I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's many.
And can
There's
you
been,
tell us some of them?
well, uh, they have ways and means of getting into your if you're staying at a hotel, they'll come in and they'll pay somebody to get into your room, or they might sneak in while they're not looking and hide in the cupboard.
Hmm.
Well, this happened years and years and years ago, uh, um, but it did happen. It did happen. I found people in my suite. I found people in my dressing rooms, because they get
And,
in somehow. And of course, uh, obviously the security wasn't that great at the time.
and how did you deal with that kind of situation?
You have to handle it. You're in the business, and therefore you have to be able to cope with whatever transpires in your career.
You've had your own show, Engelbert Humperdinck Show, that was a mix of comical banter, silly sketches, and an array of musical talent, current and past. Is there some situation you can't forget, maybe?
Well, there's many special moments because I've worked with so many great stars in my life. I probably my TV show was the person who was the CEO of the show. Like
Hmm.
he was president of Fabergé. Was Cary Grant. Cary
Oh,
Grant, the famous actor, right?
yes.
He was he was he was my he sponsored my show. His company sponsored my show, and I got to see Cary Grant quite a lot during that series. And we got to know each other, and I think he liked me enough to pay visits to Las Vegas to see my show with his daughter and one thing and another. And he was such a nice man, well, a
Hmm.
really nice man and a great actor. Somebody I really admired as an actor.
Yeah, there was also some sketches and some comical banter. What type of humor do you like?
Oh, I love humor. I really love humor. Uh, uh, I think I have a sense of humor too because I use it when I'm on stage, and I think it's important to have a sense of humor. If you don't, it's not worth living. I think a sense of humor is very important. But mine is pretty dry, and I know how to use it on stage. I know how to use it in a very diplomatic way.
You were friends with Elvis Presley, who loved Monty Python, especially Black Knight sketch. So I was wondering, what do you think about Monty Python? Is it maybe the best thing Britain ever gave to the world?
No, I don't think uh, I would. I would want to be a Monty Python, but he was quite a very talented man, and his form of acting and comedy was unique, and he was very special. I loved all those movies in the. I so I like people like Peter Sellers, who was
Mhm.
in the Pink Panthers. I love that. As a matter of fact, today I still watch those movies over and over and over again, and they still make me laugh.
Elvis once said about you that you were his twin brother that he lost at birth. Those are big words. So, how was your friendship?
It was very good. It was very good. How we met. Elvis came to see me first.
Mhm.
He came to my show, and he was dressed in a cape. And when I introduced him, he stood on the table, and he held his cape out like that, like Batman. And the audience went absolutely berserk. And I couldn't quiet the audience down for about 10 minutes. until I said, Elvis, this is my show. Sit down. You know, and then we became good friends. And I went backstage and I said to him, you know, Elvis, I have a lot of your albums, and I want to record some of your songs. He says, don't worry, pal. I've got your albums and I'm recording your songs too.
Uh, I know you've already talked about this, but how was he like a person?
Probably one of the best people I've ever met in my life too. You know, as a matter of fact, when I first met him, you know how people shake hands, and not COVID era, but in the old days when they used to shake hands, you know, and say hello, nice to meet you. Well, he didn't. He embraced me. First meeting, embraced me, and that was it. That we became good friends after that.
So if we move to the present day, I was wondering what kind of music do you listen to these days?
So all kinds of music. I think that's an important factor. You know that you all the blends of music that exist in the world today. And I watch the programs. I don't listen to radio more. I think I watch, you know, because of the convenience of the screen. I watch The Voice and you know and that sort of thing. And because the people who go on those programs sing the songs of today, you know, and so I keep up with that by watching these programs, you know.
So, you know, I'm a composer myself, and in my opinion, the mainstream music is getting dumber and dumber with each generation since I think maybe 90s. Do you agree or not?
Dumber and dumber. You know, I, I like your style. I really do.
Thank
Like
you very much.
you say it like it is, and that's the way it is. You know, as a matter of fact, some of the stuff I hear today, uh, 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 it goes over my head because I don't understand it. You know.
Yeah.
See, I believe in a good storyline, a good melody, and something that people can relate to, you know, in their own lives. The story that will relate, and that people say, "Oh, that's like my life. That's like my life," you know, and then relate to it. And of course, it hits home. Then it hits home.
Exactly. You know, if you take, let's say, 70s, 80s music, the harmonies were complex, the melodies were sophisticated yet still memorable. You don't see it these days. Why do you think so?
What it is that people are trying to be different, you know, and when you try to be different, you do things in a different way. But I don't recognize melodies anymore. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
it's I don't have to buy that. You know, I only buy what I like. You know, but I have to listen to it because of what is happening in today's world.
No, the melody has vanished. Some melodies has only two notes and that's it.
Yeah.
It's also difficult for me because I like big melodies, so this time is a little bit weird for me as a composer. But is there a practice in the music industry that you seriously disapprove of?
No, I don't think so. You know, I mean, I have to put up with all kinds of music, and you know, if I don't like it, I don't listen to it. You know, it's up to the individual, and I'm totally a music lover, and I love good music, and that's what I listen to.
You performed 4 times in front of the Queen and many head of states. Do you have any funny or maybe spicy stories about some of them?
Our queen is a delightful lady, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to be seeing her next week.
Oh,
You know,
really?
yes, I'll be seeing her on the 5th of next month, on the 5th of April, and that's when I receive the MBE. She's going to present me with the MBE, and I'll be going to the palace. You know. To see her. I've been many times. I've been many times to the palace, and um, I think the Queen is quite familiar with my face.
And how is she?
She's a very nice lady. She's a charming, charming lady. Uh, um, you know, and she's just a little. I have to bend down to see, listen, you know. I have to listen to her, but she has quite a sense of humor too. You know, quite a sense of humor. And
Uh,
I enjoy royalty, and I enjoy. I've I've met a lot of people in my life. You know, to presidents, etc. You know, I played golf with the President Bush. You know, many years ago, and he was so nice. Such a nice man. Oh, the old President Bush. And when I was introduced to him, he took his hat off and shook my hand. As president, taking his hat off and shaking my hand. You know, but it was quite wonderful.
what perks and duties come with the title Member of the British Empire?
It's just a Medal of Honor, and I'm very thrilled that it's being bestowed upon me. Um, and to be chosen as a person to be presented this particular honor, it's very flattering. It's very wonderful. I mean, I've been reading the papers, and I come from Leicester in England, and in Leicester in England, there was an article which says that they're looking to put a bronze statue of a notable person from Leicester in the city centre.
Mm-hmm.
And my name was mentioned amongst many names, well, a few other names, like Sir Alex Jeffrey, who invented the DNA, you know, whom I know very well, by the way. And it's nice to just be mentioned, you know.
Mm-hmm. So, given how many high-class events you have attended, what was your greatest faux pas, if there were some?
My faux pas was not being able to keep the manager that made me, you know, because his name was Gordon Mills. Mm-hmm. And he also handled Tom Jones, you know, and I thought that he was more for Mr. Jones than for me, so I decided to leave him. That was my biggest faux pas.
This is your first time you'll perform in Czech Republic. What are your expectations?
No, actually, I really don't know what I will expect. I've been to Prague before, and I came over and I recorded a lot of my tracks in Prague, and the musicianship in over there is excellent. You know, just totally excellent. That's why people come there to record. You know, and that was quite a few years ago, but my word, I want to tell you, I truly enjoyed their musicianship. It was excellent, excellent. And of course, it's now with me for posterity, you know, and with the public. The kind of, I don't know what, I've never performed there before, so it's going to be a challenge to know how they're going to receive me, you know, and I certainly hope it's the same way as they have done all over the world. And I've been very fortunate, and each time I visited a country, it's been excellent reviews, and I just want to keep that up when I come over to your country.
I think you will be received amazingly. But my last question is, what are you most looking forward to in your personal life and in your professional life?
I would just like to continue doing what I'm doing, Peter, you know, because I find that what I do is a joy in my life. And it's given me, you know, music has been my passport to the world. And my passport is now bringing me to your country, and it has been taken to every country around the world. And I'm thrilled that this is the first time, and I hope it's going to be a great time, and I hope I can return.
Thank you very much, Engelbert. It was a great honor for me to have you as a guest. And we are looking forward to see you here.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. God bless.